All right, guys. I've been going through some video that I shot. I shot all last week when I was down in Florida. I shot every bit of everything that I had. Every day I had the cameras rolling, and we've been giving some thought. We've been talking with some friends of mine about what all is working and what's not on posting. And I really don't want to just put up a video of just highlights of fish catches through practice. Practice has got a lot of shaking fish off. It's got a lot of other things happening that are not really that interesting to watch. And so what I'm going to try to do this time is make this more general than just Toho or Kissimmee, Florida. And I don't even think I'm going to label the video this way. Really what happened down there this week was pretty interesting. For one, it's the first time I've been to Florida, and I've been down there a bunch. It's the first time that I've been to Florida this time of year in January, and it wasn't cold. Like usually when we get down there, it's like the most beautiful sunny day you've seen. It's 80 degrees, and you're thinking, man, this is just wonderful. And this year was a different deal. Like we got down there, and it was 70, and it just warmed up every single day. It just got warmer and warmer and warmer. And what that ended up doing in the tournament was the weather had a big effect on those lakes. This is something that I was going to talk about too, is the effect of how quick a natural shallow lake changes from the weather conditions. And that's the case in Florida. I'm going to go through some of those kinds of things, like what effect that did have on the fish, because basically we went from a pre-spawn pattern, no doubt when we got there was a pre-spawn bite, to a lot of the fish being actually spawners by the time the event came on. There wasn't a ton of spawners, but it was definitely one of the bigger patterns that was playing. So we kind of had that combination of pre-spawn and spawn by the time the tournament actually went off, and I'm going to get into some of that, so you guys hang on. Okay, I'm back home. It's back to reality. It's cold and wet outside. It's raining today in Oklahoma. It's not the 80 degrees that I experienced for a week down in Florida. You guys that live down there, it's just, I want to move every time I go down there in the wintertime. I know it gets cold, but not quite to the extreme that it is here. But back home, looking at some videos, cutting this up, making this for you guys. At the beginning of this practice, it's weird to go back and see because, you know, in my brain, I'm on the end of the event. But in the beginning of the event, and you guys will see, really what I was looking for was I was looking for some hydrilla, offshore hydrilla bite. We had that going on down there last year when we were there. It was a pretty consistent bite, and I was really just trying to cover water, find hydrilla, look at watercolor over hydrilla areas of the lake that had hydrilla in it. Most of the clips that you're going to see are me fishing down on Lake Kissimmee. I spent a lot of time in Toho. It was pretty unproductive for a couple of days up there, and I just didn't like what I saw. Kissimmee just suits me better. It's a shallower lake. The fish live shallower. It's not as much of an offshore deal. I'm a visual guy. I like to look and see at what I'm throwing at, and Kissimmee just kind of fits that bill. And so it seems like most times I get down there, that is the lake that I choose to end up fishing on. At the beginning of these videos, you're going to see at the first practice, you know, it's basically just a chatterbait deal. I'm spending a lot of time with chatterbait, a rattle bait, and some plastics, just swimming worms through the grass or a swim jig even. But I'm basically just covering water. The things that I'm looking for whenever I go into these areas for grass beds, number one, I'm looking for grass. Does it or does it not have hydrilla, milfoil, coontail, some type of aquatic vegetation that's growing off the bottom? Second thing I'm looking for is water clarity. Water clarity is real important down in Florida. It's important to me. It's important anywhere that there's grass vegetation, period. Even if we're talking about the Louisiana Delta. Anytime that you're dealing with fish that live in aquatic vegetation, water clarity is important. So we're looking for, does the bottom have vegetation? Does it have clear water? Does it have a hard bottom? Because these fish are pre-spawn, they're looking for somewhere to go. Is there some place in there that has a hard bottom for them to spawn? Pads can also do the job if you've got a lot of pad fields in the area. Obviously in Florida that's a big deal, and you're going to see that as this event progresses through this video where the pads become a bigger and bigger deal. Let's just start with a couple of videos. I'll show you at the beginning of practice. Right here's a couple of catches, and one of them's a pretty nice one. That's some gun right there. That's a big one. That is a big one. Yes, sir. Biggin. Biggin, 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 biggin. Need some more bites like that. Now, after you see a fish that's like this, you start really thinking, hey, there could be more in this area. I mean, because this is what you're looking for. When I'm in grass, I'm looking for numbers of bites in a particular spot, or I'm looking for size. And anytime I catch a fish that's 5, 6, 7 pounds in Florida, it could be alone, but there's the good potential that there's more of them there with it. Every now and then we get thrown that curveball and you catch a big one way off in the middle of nowhere and you never catch another one like it. It happens to all of us. Don't let that fish mess you up. But when you catch a big one, you definitely want to take a mental note. This particular fish was up on top of the hydrilla. I was on the outside edge of the taper grass where the grass basically ended. I was in 4 to 5 foot of water and the hydrilla came out and stopped. And there was no more grass out behind me, and that fish was actually on the outside edge of the grass line, which would be a great place for him to stage and pre-spawn. What I will say is that I spent another 3 hours in that area. I got 2 more bites. One of them was probably a 4-pounder. But, man, I had to work. I mean, there's no one there. You know, you're there in practice, and you're in an area, and there's no one else there, and you're having to struggle. You know, you're only getting 1 bite per hour to generate. You're early in practice. More guys are going to come fish that area. Without a new, fresh influx of fish, that area is going to be, it's going to be difficult to generate bites come tournament day. Those are things that I think about, and that was the thing that concerned me about this particular area in the hydrilla. There were a couple of good fish in this area. I never did even check it in the tournament. I wished I would have run it on day 2 and given it a chance, but I just never was in that section of the lake again. It's pretty cool to sit here and watch some of this stuff. I started recording last year just because FLW required us to run cameras in the boat, or I would have never even owned a GoPro. You know, I got a man in his 40s. You know, I had no interest in filming anything, recording anything. And then with the FLW Tour rules last year, with marshals not having marshals, the potential of not having a marshal, they required that every pro angler run a GoPro from beginning to end, from blast off until weigh in case there was a rules violation or something, if they ever wanted to go back and check, and perhaps there wasn't a marshal, or even if there was a marshal in the boat, you had living proof of what went on. That went on to the fact that, hey, we've got these GoPros. We started playing with them a little bit, and a few of us, myself included, have become pretty interested in enjoying to make videos and being able to use them as a teaching tool, and we use them for sponsors and all kinds of things. So it's a really cool deal that I've kind of gotten into. So as the conditions continue to change, you're going to see in these videos as the sun starts to get up, the wind starts to lay down, and it starts getting slicker outside. And you're going to see me kind of change. I'm going to start leaning more towards, early in these videos, you saw me with a chatterbait and I was fishing the hydrilla, and you'd see me go around pad fields and stuff, and I wasn't even throwing into the pads. I was basically just chatterbaiting the outside edges of the pads and in those areas trying to find bass with either a chatterbait or a rattlebait or a swim jig. as the sun got up and as each day progressed and it got warmer and warmer and warmer, you're going to start seeing me start pitching and flipping to these pad stems. Some of the things that I'm looking for in the pad stems is I'm looking for isolated pad stems that are off by themselves, or smaller clumps that are off by themselves. They seem to be a higher percentage than the big clumps that are just, the whole bank of lily pads. To find fish. Now, once we start fishing the tournament, and guys, those will be some of the first ones that get picked off, and then, as it progresses, we may go deeper and deeper into those. But watch a couple of these videos. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to pay attention to sometimes with some of the pads how far away I am while I'm fishing them. One of the great things about doing these videos is that it actually allows me to see some of my own mistakes. And when we're on the water, I'm not noticing them. Like I may fish for 3 days and not notice. And then I get back here to Oklahoma and I plug that card in to my laptop or my iPad, and it is amazing some of the things that I see that I'm doing wrong. Like it sticks out just like that. Some of the pad fields on the last day of practice, I was getting a lot of bites and I was going slower, but just how close my boat was to some of them while I'm getting those bites, I wouldn't want to fish that close to them in the tournament. And I didn't, but just the habit of me being from Oklahoma, the water clarity is different, and not thinking all the way through all that while I was down there fishing, of the fact of the boat pressure presence being too close to possibly spook a fish before that bite. That's all I'm getting at. That's just one example of things that I learned, but I think it's really cool. I mean, anytime I can learn something, especially if I can learn it directly about myself, this is an advantage that I've got just from running a camera that I've noticed over the last 12 months that I've seen some of the things that I do that are kind of bonehead. But watch these videos, watch how far away I'm staying from the pads. What I really want you to notice is you will notice where I start picking things apart. So what's happened is I'll show you a cut. I'll show you a cut where actually I take my hook off. Isolated pads. So like I was catching them really good out of canals that honestly didn't have that many pads in them. But the pads that it did have, there's a fish right there. So see, there's 2 bites of pads. That's a better fish right there.
You're just flipping them or kind of throwing at them?
I like to make longer casts if I can.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good fish right there.
I've been doing it this whole time, nothing.
I know, but it's a 2.5 pounder.
You work it through there?
No, you just sneak it, like get it up against that pad stem and just shake it. Like try to throw past it and then try to sneak it up there. Like you're trying to sneak it by that pad stem, like you didn't want to get eaten if you were a worm. Go real slow. Pad flipping. Yeah, that's 3 bites just in a couple minutes. That's a group of pads that is pretty close to the big group, like what you're up there around. But this is just a little couple that just came out by themselves,
I mean, that's what I'm fishing. I just fished some that looked awesome. All
right, well, I hope you kind of see what I'm talking about the transition, how we started this video, and you can kind of see how I started practicing. It was more about the hydrilla and chatterbaiting and stuff like that, and how it's kind of progressed to more of a spawn type situation, and things have kind of warmed up and moved on. I'm going to stop this video right here, partly because Mikey's come in the video with us, and he's just wanting a little pet. He's come in from the rain and the cold. He's ready to get back in his bed, and I have rod and reels on him. And but anyway, we are going to stop the video right here. I've got the next set ready to go. It's a lot of the same, progression where things start warming up. You're going to see more pads. I'll probably have some of the fish catches. I catch an 8 pounder the first day of the tournament, and I actually had the video of shaking that particular fish off in the pads. And when it bites, like there's no hook on the end of my line, and it literally doubles the rod. So there was no mistaking that it was a big one. So that's pretty cool. I want to get to that. But I've got some more detail that I want to get into with some of the grass stuff. Like I say, this will work anywhere in the country. This is You know, any natural lake, shallow lakes got grass. I mean, even the stuff up north, like you guys live in Minnesota, New York. I mean, it's going to be the same transitions as far as what you're looking for during the pre-spawn and the spawning periods. I mean, it's even the same types of vegetations. You're still looking for, you know, grass, hydrilla, milfoil, coontail of some type, clear water, and then a hard spawning bottom. I mean, it's still going to be the same three things as what you're looking for. So this is a video that you can use for all over the country. It's not just strictly Florida. It's only strictly Florida in January. That's it. But guys, I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe. Leave comments below. Love to see them. Until next time, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.